Hello, my name is Eva, and I'm writing this to share the most life-changing experience I've ever had. I was on the brink of death, yet what I encountered wasn't darkness but a profound, divine light. I met Jesus. His words shook my soul, especially when he spoke about tithing, not as we've been taught, but as something much deeper. I feel compelled to share this near-death experience because it carries a message that could transform your understanding of faith and giving. This isn't just my story, it's a wake-up call from heaven itself. It was a cold, ordinary day, or so I thought. I had been feeling exhausted for weeks, blaming it on stress and long hours at work. That morning, I woke up with a strange sense of unease, but I brushed it off and went about my day. By afternoon, I was at the grocery store when a sharp pain shot through my chest. It felt like my body was being torn apart from the inside. I collapsed in the middle of the aisle, unable to breathe, surrounded by strangers trying to help. The ambulance came quickly, and I was rushed to the hospital. Everything was a blur, bright lights, muffled voices, and a searing pain that seemed to consume me. At some point, I felt myself slipping away, as though my body no longer mattered. The pain faded, replaced by an overwhelming sense of peace. I didn't understand what was happening, but I knew I wasn't in the hospital anymore. I was somewhere else entirely. I later found out that my heart had stopped for nearly 5 minutes. In that brief moment, my life as I knew it changed forever. That was the day I crossed over into a realm that defies words. What began as a medical emergency turned into a divine encounter that still leaves me in awe. I didn't realize it then, but that day marked the start of a journey that would challenge everything I thought I knew about life, faith, and giving. As my body lay lifeless on the hospital bed, I felt myself being pulled into another dimension. It wasn't frightening, it was surreal. I saw myself lying there, surrounded by doctors frantically trying to revive me, but I felt no attachment to that scene. My spirit was moving, almost floating, drawn toward a light so radiant it seemed alive. The transition was seamless. One moment, I was aware of my surroundings. The next, I was in a place of unimaginable beauty. There were no walls, no limits, just an infinite expanse of light and warmth. Colors I had never seen before danced around me, and the air itself seemed to hum with a peaceful melody. I felt weightless, free from all the burdens I had carried in life. As I moved closer to the light, I began to hear voices, not loud, but gentle and reassuring. They weren't speaking a language I could recognize, yet I understood every word. It was as if the words were being spoken directly into my soul. They told me not to be afraid, that I was safe, and that what I was about to experience would change me forever. I didn't know what they meant, but I trusted them completely. The light grew brighter as I moved toward it, and for the first time, I felt the presence of something, or someone, greater than anything I had ever known. I didn't see a face, but I knew it was Jesus. His presence was undeniable, and his love was overwhelming. I wanted to stay there forever, but deep down, I knew this was just the beginning. The first thing I noticed in the divine realm was the overwhelming sense of love. It wasn't just a feeling, it was a tangible presence that surrounded and filled me. Everything in this place seemed alive and connected, from the soft, glowing light to the air that carried a faint, otherworldly fragrance. I wasn't walking, yet I was moving forward, drawn by an invisible force. In the distance, I saw what looked like a vast, shimmering garden. It was unlike anything on earth. Every blade of grass seemed to shine. Every flower emitted a soft glow, and the trees seemed to hum with energy. I could hear the gentle rustle of leaves, But it wasn't just sound, it was music, a symphony that resonated deep within my soul. It felt like the entire realm was alive and worshipping. I encountered beings of light who stood along my path. They didn't have physical forms as we do, but their presence was unmistakable. They radiated kindness and wisdom, and though they didn't speak, their thoughts flowed directly into my mind. They told me I was loved, that I had a purpose, and that I wasn't here by accident. It was humbling and comforting at the same time. As I moved further, the light grew brighter, and I realized it wasn't just light. It was life itself. It was the essence of God, and it was drawing me closer. I felt no fear, only a profound sense of belonging. In that moment, I understood that this realm wasn't just a place. It was home. It was where we all come from, and where we will all return. As I continued moving toward the light, I was greeted by an angelic presence, unlike anything I could have imagined. This being radiated power and serenity, its form glowing with an intensity that didn't hurt my eyes, but filled me with awe. It didn't have wings like we often imagine. Instead, it was enveloped in a swirling golden light that seemed alive. The angel spoke, not with words, but directly into my soul. "Eva," it said, "you have been called here for a reason. There is a message you must carry back." I was stunned. I didn't understand why I, of all people, had been chosen. The angel seemed to sense my doubt and reassured me. "You are loved, and you are enough. The message you carry is for all who are ready to hear it." I asked why I had been brought here, and the angel told me that my time on earth wasn't finished. "There is more for you to do," it said. "You must return and share what you have learned about tithing and giving. Many have been misled, and the truth must be known." The angel then showed me visions of people giving out of fear, obligation, or greed, and how it distorted the true purpose of tithing. It explained that tithing wasn't about money or material offerings. It was about the state of the heart. "True tithing is an act of love," the angel said. "It is about giving freely, not because you are told to, but because your soul compels you to." The angel's words pierced my heart. I realized how often I had misunderstood tithing, treating it as a transaction rather than an act of faith. I promised to carry this message back, and with that the angel smiled and stepped aside, allowing me to move closer to the light. What came next would forever change my understanding of faith. As I moved closer to the light, I was shown something extraordinary, a vision of Earth from heaven. It wasn't the way we see our planet in pictures or maps. It was alive. I could see every person, every action, and even the emotions that flowed from their hearts. It was as if the Earth was breathing, connected to everything in the universe in ways I could never have imagined. The angel stood beside me, guiding me through the vision. "Look closely," it said. "Every choice, every thought, and every action creates ripples. These ripples affect not just the people around you, but the entire world." I saw streams of light radiating from people who were giving selflessly. Their generosity and love formed brilliant patterns that connected to others, creating a web of light that spread across the globe. But then I saw something darker. There were people giving out of fear or for selfish reasons, and the energy they created was heavy and dim. The angel explained, "This is what happens when giving is done without love. True tithing is not about money, but about the heart's intention. It is the love behind the gift that transforms the giver and the receiver." The vision shifted, and I saw churches, charities, and individuals. Some were radiant, surrounded by light, while others were dark and lifeless. I realized that the act of tithing wasn't limited to money. It could be kindness, time, or even a listening ear. What mattered was the love behind the action, not the amount or the form it took. This vision shook me to my core. I understood how my own actions, even those I thought were generous, had sometimes lacked genuine love. The angel looked at me with compassion and said, "You can change. You can help others see the truth. This is part of why you are here." It was then that I felt his presence, Jesus. The light around me became brighter, warmer, and more intense. I didn't see him the way we imagine in pictures, but I knew it was him. His presence was overwhelming yet calming, filling every part of me with love and peace. When he spoke, it was not just words, it was truth flowing directly into my soul. "Eva," he said, "you have been brought here to understand the truth about tithing. Too many have been deceived, believing it is about rules, numbers, or earthly rewards. But that is not what I taught. Tithing is a matter of the heart. It is an expression of love, gratitude, and faith. It is not about giving to earn favor, but about giving because you are already loved." His words pierced me. I thought about how often I had given out of obligation, fear of judgment, or simply to look good in the eyes of others. Jesus seemed to know my thoughts and gently said, "It's not too late. You can change, and you can help others understand. Teach them that tithing is not about material wealth, but about sharing love, compassion, and grace." He then showed me moments from my own life, times I had given selflessly and times I had given begrudgingly. The difference was clear. When my heart was in the right place, the act of giving brought light and joy, not just to others, but to myself. But when I gave without love, it was empty, a hollow gesture that did nothing to uplift my soul. Jesus looked at me with eyes full of love and said, "Go back and share this truth. Let them know that I do not measure their worth by what they give, but by the love in their hearts. Tell them to give freely, not because they are commanded, but because they are moved by love." After hearing Jesus speak, I was shown what tithing truly means. It was nothing like the rigid practices I had grown up with, or the sermons I had heard about giving a specific percentage of your income. Instead, it was about giving from a place of love and abundance. Tithing wasn't limited to money. It could be anything you offered with a pure heart. The angel reappeared and showed me scenes of people giving. I saw a man sharing his last meal with a stranger, a woman offering her time to comfort someone in pain, and a child giving their favorite toy to another. These acts were surrounded by light that rippled outward, touching everyone around them. The angel said, "This is the essence of tithing, giving without expecting anything in return, simply because love compels you." Then I saw the opposite. People giving out of fear, guilt, or for selfish gain. Their acts were shrouded in darkness, creating no ripples, no light. The angel explained, "When giving is done without love, it becomes empty, a transaction rather than a blessing. True tithing uplifts both the giver and the receiver. It is not about numbers, but about the intention behind the act." This revelation was both humbling and freeing. I realized that tithing wasn't a duty or an obligation, but an opportunity to align with God's love. It wasn't about meeting a quota, but about expressing gratitude and faith. I felt a deep conviction to return to earth and share this truth with others. As the vision continued, I saw chains wrapped around people's hearts. These chains represented the misunderstandings and false teachings about tithing that had enslaved so many. People were giving out of fear, fear of punishment, fear of not being blessed, fear of not meeting expectations. The angel said, These chains are not of God. They are man-made, and they keep people from experiencing the true joy of giving. The chains broke whenever someone gave freely out of love and faith. I saw how their hearts were filled with light, and their joy spread to those around them. But for those who clung to fear or gave for selfish reasons, the chains tightened, keeping them in spiritual bondage. It was heartbreaking to witness. Jesus spoke again, his voice filled with compassion. My people perish for lack of understanding. They have turned tithing into a rule rather than an act of love. Tell them that I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Tell them that their worth is not measured by what they give, but by the love they carry in their hearts. At that moment, I felt a deep sense of purpose. I knew I had to return and share this message, to help others break free from the chains of misunderstanding and discover the joy of true giving. It wasn't just about tithing, it was about living a life of love, faith, and gratitude. The chains didn't belong in God's kingdom, and I was determined to help others see that. One of the most profound moments of my journey came when I was given the ability to see people's hearts as they gave. It wasn't just about their actions, it was about their intentions. The angel guided me, saying, "Look beyond what their hands offer. Look at their hearts, for that is where the truth lies." I saw a man in a church dropping a large sum of money into the collection plate. To anyone watching, it seemed like an incredible act of generosity. But when I looked at his heart, I saw a different story. He was giving to gain recognition, hoping to be admired by others. His heart was empty, consumed by pride and the need for approval. The money may have been substantial, but the act itself carried no light. Then I saw a single mother handing a small bill to someone in need. Her face was weary, but her heart was shining. She gave out of love, even though she had little to spare. Her act was surrounded by a radiant light that spread far and wide. It wasn't the amount she gave that mattered. It was the love and selflessness behind it. Jesus' voice resonated in my soul. This is what I desire, a heart that gives freely, not for reward or recognition, but because it is moved by love. A small act done with great love holds more power in heaven than the largest offering given without faith. This ability to see hearts opened my eyes to the truth about tithing. It wasn't about the amount or the gesture, it was about the love, faith, and sacrifice behind the act. When I return to share this message, I want people to understand that God doesn't need their money. He desires their hearts. The true value of giving lies in the love it carries. As my journey continued, I was shown how false teachings about tithing have led many people astray. The angel revealed visions of preachers and leaders who twisted the concept of giving to manipulate and control others. They spoke of blessings that could be bought and instilled fear by claiming that failing to give would invite curses. It was heartbreaking to see how these teachings weighed people down, making them feel unworthy or obligated to give out of fear instead of love. Jesus' voice was firm but filled with compassion. Too many have used my name to impose burdens I never intended. They have turned tithing into a tool of guilt and control, distorting its purpose. Tell them the truth. Tithing is not a transaction to earn blessings. It is an act of faith, a way to align with my love and care for one another. I was shown people who had given everything they had, not because they wanted to, but because they were told they must. Their hearts were heavy, filled with doubt and fear. The angel explained, "This is not tithing as God intended. When giving becomes a burden, it loses its light. True tithing is a joyful act, done willingly and with love." The warning was clear. Tithing is not about appeasing God or buying favor. It is about trusting Him and sharing His love with others. When people give out of fear or obligation, They miss the beauty of what tithing is meant to be. This revelation filled me with a renewed sense of purpose. I had to share this truth to help people break free from these false teachings and rediscover the joy of giving as God intended. The angel guided me further, showing me the incredible power that love holds when it comes to giving. I was shown how acts of giving, when done with love, create waves of light that ripple across the universe. These waves are not bound by time or space. They reach far beyond what we can see or comprehend. I saw a woman giving her time to mentor a troubled child. Her love and patience transformed not just the child's life, but also the lives of everyone he would go on to touch. The angel said, "This is the true power of tithing. It is not limited to money. It is about giving whatever you have with love. It is about using the gifts God has given you to uplift and bless others." Then I saw a man helping a stranger on the street, offering him food and a kind word. The love behind his actions created a light that spread to others, inspiring them to give as well. This chain reaction of love was breathtaking to witness. The angel explained, "This is how the kingdom of God works. One act of love leads to another, and the light grows stronger with each act." Jesus' voice echoed in my heart. When you give with love, you are participating in the work of heaven. Your actions become a reflection of my love, spreading hope and joy to those who need it most. This is what I desire, a world where love guides every gift and every action. This revelation changed my understanding of tithing forever. It wasn't about fulfilling a duty or following a rule. It was about living a life of love and faith, allowing that love to guide every act of giving. This is the message I must share, to remind others that their gifts, no matter how small, can create ripples of light that change the world. At the end of my journey, I felt a deep urgency in my soul, a call to share what I had learned with others. The angel stood beside me, its light glowing brighter than ever, and said, "Ava, you have seen the truth. Now you must return and share it. The world needs to hear this message, to break free from fear and embrace the joy of true giving." Jesus spoke to me once more, his voice filled with love and purpose. "Tell them that I see their hearts, not their offerings. Tell them that I desire love, not sacrifice. Let them know that their worth is not determined by what they give, but by the love they carry within. This truth will set them free." I felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility, but also a deep peace, knowing that I had been given a mission that could bring light to so many. The angel reassured me, "You are not alone. The Holy Spirit will guide you, and the message you carry will touch the hearts of those who are ready to hear it." With that, I felt myself being pulled back, leaving the divine realm behind. The light began to fade, and I was aware of my body again. I gasped for air as I woke up in the hospital, surrounded by doctors and nurses. They called it a miracle, but I knew it was something far greater. I had been given a second chance, a mission, and a truth that I could not keep to myself. Now, as I write this, I pray that whoever reads or hears my story will understand the true meaning of tithing. It is not about money or obligation. It is about love, faith, and the joy of giving freely. This is the message I was sent back to share, and I hope it touches your heart as deeply as it touched mine. The transition back to my body was jarring, like being pulled through a tunnel at unimaginable speed. I could feel the weight of the world returning, the heaviness of my body, the noise of machines, and the muffled voices of the medical team around me. My chest ached as if a great force had shocked me back to life, but it wasn't just my body that had changed. It was my spirit. I opened my eyes to find doctors and nurses staring at me with a mixture of astonishment and relief. "She's back," one of them said, their voice trembling. I could hear the faint beep of a heart monitor and feel the cold metal of the hospital bed beneath me. But all I could think about was the light, the angel, and Jesus' voice still echoing in my soul. I had been sent back with a purpose, and I knew I couldn't waste a single moment. For the first few minutes I struggled to comprehend what had just happened. My body felt heavy, as if it was relearning how to function. But my mind and heart were crystal clear. The vision of heaven, the lessons on tithing, and the overwhelming love I had experienced were imprinted on me, more real than anything in the physical world. The nurses asked me questions, checking my vitals, but I could barely answer. My focus was elsewhere, on the mission I had been given. I felt a deep urgency to tell someone, anyone, about what I had seen. I wanted to shout it from the rooftops, but I also knew that the message had to be shared carefully, in a way that would truly reach people's hearts. As I lay in that hospital bed, I prayed silently, asking God to guide me. I promised that I would honor this second chance by sharing the truth about tithing and love, no matter the cost. This wasn't just a near-death experience, it was a divine commission, and I was ready to fulfill it. After my release from the hospital, I couldn't stop thinking about what I had experienced. I knew I had to share the message, but I also knew it wouldn't be easy. How do you explain an encounter with heaven to people who haven't seen it themselves? How do you convey the depth of Jesus' words about tithing when so many have been conditioned to think of it in terms of money and obligation? I began by sharing my story with close friends and family. Some listened with awe, while others looked at me with skepticism, as if they thought I was imagining things. "Are you sure it wasn't just a dream?" one friend asked. But this wasn't a dream. It was more vivid, more real than anything I had ever experienced. The doubt hurt, but I remembered the angel's words. The message will touch the hearts of those who are ready to hear it. I realized that not everyone would understand or believe me, and that was okay. My job wasn't to convince everyone, it was to plant seeds of truth and let God take care of the rest. I decided to share my story more widely, speaking at local churches and writing about my experience. Each time I focused on the central message. Tithing isn't about money, it's about love. I told people that true giving comes from the heart, not from obligation or fear. Slowly, I began to see the impact. People started telling me how their perspectives on giving were changing, how they were finding joy in acts of love and generosity they had never considered before. There were still challenges. Some criticized me, accusing me of undermining traditional teachings on tithing. But I knew the truth of what I had seen and heard, and that gave me strength. This wasn't just my story, it was a message from heaven, and I was determined to share it, no matter the obstacles. The experience didn't just change my understanding of tithing, it changed my entire life. Before this, I had often given out of a sense of duty or to meet societal expectations. I thought I was being generous, but in reality my heart wasn't always in the right place. Now, everything was different. I began to approach giving with a new perspective. It wasn't just about donating money, it was about offering my time, my love, and my compassion to others. I started volunteering at shelters, helping neighbors, and even offering a listening ear to strangers. Each act, no matter how small, felt like a way to align with the divine love I had experienced. One day, I met a woman who was struggling to make ends meet. Instead of simply giving her money, I sat with her, listened to her story, and helped her find resources to get back on her feet. It wasn't just about helping her materially, it was about sharing love and hope. That encounter reminded me of what Jesus had said. When you give with love, you are participating in the work of heaven. I also stopped worrying about how much I was giving. Instead of calculating percentages or focusing on the amount, I asked myself, am I giving with love? Am I trusting God to use this gift for good? This mindset brought me an incredible sense of freedom and joy. I realized that true tithing wasn't a burden. It was a blessing, an opportunity to reflect God's love in the world. Looking back, I'm deeply grateful for the near-death experience that opened my eyes to these truths. It wasn't just a glimpse of heaven, it was a call to live differently, to give differently, and to love more deeply. And now, as I share this message with you, I pray that it touches your heart and inspires you to see tithing not as a duty, but as an act of love that can transform your life and the lives of others. As I embraced the lessons from my near-death experience, I began to witness the ripple effects of true tithing in my life and the lives of those around me. It was like watching a pebble dropped into a still pond with waves of love and kindness radiating outward. Every small act of giving, whether it was offering my time, sharing a kind word, or helping someone in need, seemed to spark something greater. I remember one particular moment that solidified this understanding for me. I had just finished sharing my story at a local church, emphasizing the importance of giving from the heart. After the service, a young couple approached me. They explained how they had been struggling to meet the traditional expectations of tithing, feeling guilty and burdened every time they gave. My story, they said, had changed their perspective. The husband told me, "We realized that we were giving out of fear, not love. We've decided to stop focusing on numbers and start giving in ways that truly matter, helping our community, supporting our family, and being there for others." His wife added, "For the first time, we feel free. It's no longer about obligation, it's about joy." That couple's transformation wasn't an isolated incident. Over time, I heard countless stories from people who began to see tithing as an opportunity to reflect God's love rather than a rule to follow. The ripple effects spread further than I could have imagined. People began forming groups to volunteer, support each other, and give freely in ways that uplifted their communities. I realized then that true tithing isn't just an individual act. It's a collective force that can transform the world. When giving comes from the heart, it inspires others to do the same, creating a chain reaction of love and compassion that reaches far beyond what we can see. And that is the ultimate power of tithing as God intended. As I neared the end of my divine encounter, Jesus spoke to me one last time. His words were filled with love and a sense of urgency that resonated deeply within me. "Ava," he said, "the truth about tithing is not just for you, it's for everyone. Go back and share this message, not with judgment, but with love. Help people see that giving is a reflection of their faith, their gratitude, and their love for others." His gaze, though not physical, felt like it pierced my soul. "Do not let fear guide your message," he continued. "Many will resist, some will doubt, but those who are ready will hear and understand. Their hearts will be set free. Remind them that tithing is not about measuring worth or earning favor. It is about embodying the love I have given to them." Then, in a moment I will never forget, Jesus placed his hand over my heart. I felt a warmth unlike anything I had ever experienced, a divine energy that seemed to fill me with strength, courage, and purpose. "This is not a burden," he said, "but a blessing. You are never alone in this mission. My Spirit will guide you, and my love will sustain you." As he withdrew, the light began to dim, and the angel who had accompanied me said, "You are ready. In that instant, I felt myself being pulled back into my earthly body, but the mission Jesus gave me remained imprinted on my soul. I knew, with absolute certainty, that my life would never be the same. I had been given a divine commission to share this message, and I was determined to honor it.